started here in 3, 2, and 1. All right, everybody, welcome to another great episode of Framing New Heights, where we challenge conversational wisdom, conventional wisdom, and also explore new perspectives of life, growth, and change that fixed mindset. I'm your host, Michael Hicks, and today's episode I am super excited about because I hear this all the time and it absolutely makes my teeth itch. Here's what it is. You guys ready? Any guesses to what you think it is? It is the ever popular saying of, it is what it is. How many of you hear that, right? Well, today I want to uncover the truth behind this seemingly yet simple, messed up phrase. And so, have you guys ever heard of them? Well, have you ever heard them say, it is what it is? Which we probably have. Well, understand this. They're the most dangerous person you could probably be around. I said it. Because as innocent as those little words may seem, they may end up even having a larger negative effect on our personal development and the way we actually live our lives. The phrase is so alarming because it's far more than an autopilot response people use. It's a complete mentality. Now, have you identified yourself with that? And if that becomes your mantra, here's what you're basically saying. You're basically saying that you are unable to change your circumstances. Wow, right? Like mind-blowing, right? So in other words, you are living, are you ready for this? You ready for this? Here it is. A victim mentality. And I won't go off too much on this because that could probably be another great episode for another time. However, you are basically stating that you are powerless, you are helpless, and you are hopeless. And that your life is led with anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. How many are like, oh my gosh, is this guy talking to me? Is he talking about me? You know, and it's not that I am pinpointing your flaws or your mistakes or anything like that. I want to put a perception out there so that you understand the severity of what we actually say, because you guys, words matter. Use your words because they matter. Saying it is what it is means all of your situations are concrete, and any attempts you make to fix them would be pointless. Do your friends often use this word or these words? So guess what? Now, if you incredibly have a destructive mindset, and that's why you have this empty pit in your stomach, that's why you're struggling in life. This is one of the many reasons why I help people become their best selves. No, and I completely get it. We all have the basic need to feel a sense of control over what happens in our lives. Am I right? Most of you are there listening on this podcast, whatever you're doing, if you're going for a walk, and you're like, absolutely, I get it, Michael. You're spot on there. But here it is, though. Hardship will lead to heightened anxiety and even depression, especially if we have those mantra of words. There is a professor at Santa Clara by the name of Diane Dreyer, and they say that if you have no sense of control of your mindset, hardship will lead, again, to heightened anxiety and even depression. So what should we do about it, right? What should we do about this instead? Well, I'm going to give you a few ideas, give you a few suggestions. You should not surrender to the notion that you have no say in what happens in your life. In fact, the thought that we don't have control over what happens in our lives is both terrifying and mostly untrue. Yes, we have no control over the weather or what other people do. We do, however, on the other hand, have complete say in how we react to those specific, daunting circumstances and the actions we take in that response. So, also many things in life are nowhere near as concrete as we make them out to be. We always end up thinking about the worst case scenario, right? And many situations are adaptable to some extent and can be even shaped by our very own actions and especially, guess what? Our thoughts. In fact, I teach this whole entire piece to my clients on how to do this. And I'm giving some of this to you guys for free today. We just have to make the conscious decision to make those specific actions stop. And here's why people that use it is what it is, why they're so dangerous. Are you ready for this statement, you all? They have mastered the art of acceptance. And they truly don't allow things out of their control to affect them. So guess what it means? If you're in a relationship and if you leave them, guess what? They don't give a flying you-know-what about you. These same people will say the words, it is what it is. Or they do not intrinsically care or have any value for you. Because if you truly walk out of their life, they will open up the door for you. And here's the kicker to it all. When they're going to be asked why you walked out of their life, they're going to say, well, the response is going to be simple. It is what it is. And guess what? Is that someone you truly needed in your foxhole? I hope that really got your attention because that's vital. And I hear that often, and it's just such a scary perspective because people are so limited in their mindset. And we've got to be very careful on how and what we say because what we put in our ears is as simple as listening to 5 minutes of news. It daunts our perception on reality. So let's start exactly by dissecting the meaning behind it is what it is. On the surface, it suggests acceptance and even resignation, right? So are you okay with your current situation? You have accepted your current situation. In other words, I'm going to call a spade, y'all. You've basically given up. However, is that really the whole story? And today I really want to explore why it isn't what it is. And I want to provide factual evidence to debunk this commonly held belief and I hope that this gets you to a different mindset of how you speak the next time you have this opportunity to maybe even use this. My first point of debunking comes from psychology, actually. All right? Research has shown that accepting a situation without taking any action can lead to feelings of helplessness, and I talked about this earlier, and guess what? Decreased motivation. By simply resigning ourselves to the status quo, we limit our potential for growth and change, and guess what? We ultimately then never reach our true full potential or ever become the best version of ourselves. So next, I really want to kind of transition into examining the societal implications of this actual phrase. Society can get us. And I'm going to go in deep here, y'all. When we passively accept things as they are, we perpetuate systems of oppression and equality. Yeah, I went in, right? We are in this day and age where we can no longer say anything to anyone without them being offended, without them being the victim. And yes, I am a white Caucasian man. And some may say, well, you have white privilege. I've worked for my privilege. I've worked hard on my business. I've worked hard on my education. I've worked hard on being a quality father. I've worked hard on being a positive role model to society, a positive life coach, and not only that, a positive significant other. But I want to go back and give some of you, instead of perpetuating these systems of oppression and equality, I want to give you some 4 simple ways that you can kind of debunk some of this stuff and really promote a better societal implication for yourself without having to use a phrase, it is what it is. Number 1, you got to speak up. So if you truly feel and you see some unfair or biased treatment taking place either inside the workplace or anywhere else, most effective things you can do is speak up. And we can even talk about prejudice. We can even talk about racism here. Those are all learned behaviors, y'all. Therefore, they can also be unlearned. Now, some are just so lost and so fixated on their mindset, they're never open for growth. That makes me really sad because there's so many people that need so much change. But sticking to the point here, speak up. Speaking up may empower others. That can be a powerful form of allyship or even marginalized communities, right? Here's a big thing. Research suggests that we are more likely to trust the opinions of our friends and family when it comes to many, many topics. So speaking up when you witness any type of prejudice, behavior from those closest to you can be an instrumental catalyst for changing behavior. I'll just give you a quick example. I recently went on a little getaway to Cancun, Mexico, and I was going through some of the reviews on the group in the place that I stayed at. And I'm going to do an entire podcast on this, so I don't want to give it away quite yet, but I'm going to do a review actually on the actual hotel that I stayed at. But one of the comments, and this just blows my mind, an American going to Mexico says this: well, there was a language barrier. I was telling them what I wanted to drink, and there was a language barrier. Why can't they know better English? And for those of you who are catching on me on a live stream or on the recorded, I simply want to put my hands over my face and be like, why can't you? Why can't you? Why are you the victim? So speak up about that. Number 2, share your resources. Each of us has resources and opportunities we can share to help others. Something as simple as an introduction could actually manifest into a possible job opportunity and then can have ripple effects in so many other ways. So always share your resources. I always want to make sure that I have the opportunity to help other people as immensely and possible as I can. I like to call it my dharma. My dharma in life is to help others become their best selves. And that's why my Creator has put me on the planet. Number 3, amplification. Each of us can amplify the voices of the marginalized through a number of different methods. Here's how so. When reading a story from someone who has a different background than yourself, me, whoever it may be, reshare it, repost it, or like the story. We have so much social media out there, right? Share their story with your audience. And number 4, on how you can really get rid of perpetuating those systems of oppression. And it's so vital for especially inequality. And just show your support, you guys. One of the best ways to impact oppressive systems is by providing those in marginalized communities with tangible support. Making a concerted effort to be a patron of minority-led businesses can lead to create more access and opportunity. And here's the deal, y'all. Real change only happens when individuals and communities actively can challenge and dismantle these oppression systems that I talked about earlier. And I'm going to stop it from here because I can really go in. We really need to remember We the people, because that is where it all started from. Now, as we continue to move and transition through this topic here, I want to really chat about the science piece. The concept of, you guys ever hear of the term called neuroplasticity? Well, let me kind of break it down for you. And this is, I'll get to, I know you're like, Michael, this was a podcast on, it is what it is. But I'm debunking it from every aspect here and every angle, okay? So neuroplasticity is, it's the brain's ability to change and adapt due to experiences, okay? So if we are constantly limiting ourselves, I don't want to get too far myself. Let me just continue going here. It's an umbrella term referring to the brain's ability to change. The brain's ability to reorganize. The brain's ability to grow different neural networks. And this can involve functional changes due to brain damage or structural changes even due to learning. So here's what I'm saying, y'all. Our brains have the remarkable ability to change and adapt throughout our lives. And did you just hear what I just said? I'm going to say it again. Our brains have the remarkable ability to change and adapt throughout our lives. This means that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles, there's always growth, there's always room for growth, and especially transformation. That's why it is what it isn't. Stop saying it. And you also want to know how to rewrite your brain? Let me explain this piece. So, just like how we all go to the gym, well, probably not all of us, because, that's another topic, and I won't get too detailed on that. But so let's say you're going to the gym. You go to the gym to lift weights. Lift weights is ultimately, in due time, in process, with discipline, over and over again, will build muscle. Well, you got to, as you work out your body, you guys, you got to also work out your mind. You got to exercise your brain to strengthen the memory and emotional regulation of skills that it can provide for you. So through action and experience, you take advantage of your brain's ability to modify its activity. This is exactly why it is not what it is. Every time you learn or do something new, your brain creates a new connection. And then repeating that action reinforces such a connection. Plus, here's the science word, plus more plasticity. Research suggests that you can start by engaging in a new activity or those that require you to use diverse skills. This will open doors to emotional and behavioral change. So, and some of the ways that you can promote neuroplasticity, you guys, and number one, you take a certain way home or to work. Take a new route. Yes, believe it or not, a different route. Let's say you constantly go in the same way home. Like I got one, I can really, on taking one route, I can go through a nice neighborhood or I can go through these other condo associations. So take a new route. And believe it or not, every new experience has the potential to enhance your brain's ability to change. That's what I'm saying. Travel. Do you travel? And because if you travel, that can help you. Our brains are forced to stop being on autopilot, and then they are in unfamiliar environment, especially like a new city. Research showed that in 2013 shows that novelty and challenges can in fact enhance cognitive function. So technically, you don't even have to leave your own town to promote brain plasticity. You just got to figure different avenues. Go to a different coffee shop. Change your daily commute. Maybe go around the desk in the opposite direction at your work. And that's so vital. Here's another one too, you guys. Just move, you all. Move your bodies. In 2018, there was a literature review by a trusted source showed that physical exercise can promote neuroplasticity in general. Flat out, easy, boom. Activity is beneficial for many different regions of the brain and efforts because, let me say that again. Take two. Activity is beneficial for many different regions of the brain and affects various aspects of cognitive function, including memory and guess what? Learning. Why do you think they teach physical education in schools? Here's the exact science behind it. And this might be helpful for people who are even facing major mild cognitive decline, including Alzheimer's disease. And what's so critical, you guys, and here's the other catcher, is exercising can slow the cellular aging process and enhance your overall brain health as well. Okay? So guess what? Go lift weights, y'all. The next step, constantly hound on this. Practice meditation or just learn to be still. Studies show that long-term meditation practice can change the function of your brain. Did you know that? What's also so cool is specifically mindfulness practice can enhance focus and attention and prevent cognitive decline. Boom. This isn't rocket science, y'all. This is why it is not what it is. And here's another thing. Yet another way to promote neuroplasticity is just learn a new skill. Those of you that are on this podcast listening right now, this is the part that I want you to save, because what new skill have you learned today? What new skill have you learned recently that maybe benefited your life, your career, your family? What new skill? The relationship between learning and neuroplasticity is actually a twofold, or I call it two-prong approach. Because learning new things enhances brain plasticity, and because of the brain's ability to adapt to change, you, guess what, are never too old to learn. You guys always remember that old saying, you never teach an old dog new tricks. That's not true. If you don't use your brain, eventually it's not going to perform brain plasticity, and you're not going to be able to change. That is true. So stop taking the same way to work. But man, Michael, you don't know. It's I got to be there at a certain time, and I'm always late to begin with. Well, then maybe time management is a problem. You know, and here's the thing. In this sense, every time you learn something new, y'all, you benefit from neuroplasticity. And not only that, then, you promote a healthy life full of longevity. And here's the thing. Research backs all this up. In fact, in 2021, not too far long ago, for example, suggests that learning a new skill, such as even Braille language, can promote neuroplasticity and enhance its benefits. Some other examples that include learning, and this is a big one. You really, for those of you that are struggling with maybe food and portion sizes, eat with your non-dominant hand. Yeah, take more bites when you're eating. Speak a new language. Maybe you've always been wanting, maybe you have that guitar on that vision board at home. Well, get the instrument out. Pull up a YouTube video, basic, how do I start playing the guitar? This next one I like, paint or draw. I tell you, it's really calming when I get a chance to sit down and color with my daughter. Yeah, she's nice. She still colors. And I'll help her with some cool things. She's becoming really good with it. But paint or draw. That helps too. Here's another big one. This one I have not tackled yet, and I'll be honest with you on that. But code a computer. Have you ever done that? Or how about this? Do a puzzle. That's a big one. Get out 1,000, whatever you want to start with, 1,000, 5,000 piece. Put it on your table. Each day, maybe spend 15 to 20 minutes on it. And here's the other one. It's a big one. Any guesses what it is? It's rest. Rest is key, guys. Rest is key. In fact, if I don't get my rest, I am not the energy Michael. I am not the excited about life Michael. Michael becomes very quiet. And why that happens is because it contributes to a decrease in neurogenesis. When we don't get enough sleep, it's called a decrease in neurogenesis. What that actually is, it's a process that allows the brain to repair and change. Okay? Just like our muscles need rest, right? And proper nutrition and protein. We've got an entire podcast on that. However, when we don't get sleep, it inhibits, take two. When we don't get sleep, it inhibits the body's capacity for neuroplasticity. So guess what? 5 to 6 hours will not help you. Oh man, sleeping's for the dead, Michael. It's not. We are in a society that is so sleep deprived, and it shows. I'll sleep when I'm dead. I got a business to run. I did too. I got all these things. I got a daughter. But we're not our best selves. Our brain cannot repair because of lack of neurogenesis. So, and for me, I need sometimes 9 to 10 hours. In fact, when we just went on vacation, we got up the night before at like 3 a.m., and mind you, I went to bed at like 10, probably got broken up sleep. You know how it is, everybody, when you're traveling. Your mind's racing, like, I got to make sure I get there. Make sure the alarm doesn't go. Make sure I don't miss the alarm. Make sure it's set. So you don't get really a good amount of sleep. So maybe I got 2-3 hours of sleep. But I remember getting in that night and literally falling asleep, getting room service, falling asleep at probably 8:15. And literally, you guys, slept for 12 hours. Not lying. As a 51-year-old man, slept 12 hours. My body needs neurogenesis. And with the growth journey that I'm on, with becoming a better, stronger, physically and especially minded, a growth-minded, stronger person, our bodies need rest. And I'm really honing in on that. And here's another thing, you guys, I want to really transition into history. Let's talk about history for a second, right? Especially it is what it is statement. We can find countless examples throughout history of people who refused to accept the status quo. And instead, what did they do? They fought for change. And from the historical moment to the civil rights era, individuals have shown that it is what it is, doesn't ever have to be true at the end of the story. Here's the thing, you guys. We all have a book that we're writing every single days of our lives. Our past doesn't define us. You can have it define you if you don't take the proper actions to change it. But tomorrow's a day that you get to be the best version of yourself than you were the day before. You get to write that new chapter and then that chapter and each chapter that day and after, keep going, is going to impact your future. So don't ever let the end of your story be, it is what it is. And as we are moving out or into the podcast here, I want to lastly discuss about the power of perspective. And I'm very aware there are some things we literally cannot change. We literally cannot change when we get onto an airplane and you check your bag for stow. They take the bag. We literally cannot control whether or not that bag's going to come back on that conveyor belt, right? But I always like to say this. Do your best controlling the controllables. And that begins truly with our attitude, our mindset towards things that can greatly impact our experiences of them. Because here's the thing. If we can learn to reframe our perspectives and embrace the possibility of change, you guys, we can really, really find strength and resilience even in the most challenging and difficult circumstances. And I'm going to give you a most powerful word, you guys, right now. It's one word. In fact, I just said it. I talked about it several times. But change. Change is the law of life. And those who look only in the past or present are certain to miss the future. And for those of you that love John F. Kennedy, that was definitely a quote by him. And in any given moment, we always have two options in life. Whatever moment that is and you're in, you guys, right now, whatever storm you're dealing with or whatever growth you're dealing with, you can either step forward into that growth piece or you could take a step back into safety. Do you walk towards the storm when the storm happens like a buffalo does? Or you run into the bushes and shrubs and finding the nearest shelter? Because that's why when we have the mindset and say the words, it is what it is, I will tell you the kind of person you are. You're a person with no change. You're a person with no growth, no strong perspective. You lack in areas of resilience, full of anxiety, depression. Is that you? So really be mindful as we get to the top of the end of this podcast here is when we say it is what it is, it may be a real convenient phrase to use, but it's far from the truth, you all. It's so far from the truth. And I hope you had enough concrete evidence today on what I talked to you about. And so you can look through history, you can look through psychology, you can look through societal norms, or just society for that matter. When we challenge a limiting mindset, and that's the other thing, when you challenge yourself, are you getting upset with yourself? Are you okay for that growth piece? Or when you have a conversation with somebody about a limiting mindset and that they have an bigger opening sense of commitment, and when you can actually have that's the thing too with your friends. Can you share some of these things with your friends? Or do they have a limited mindset? Because when we get the opportunity to really get into a growth mindset, I'm telling you, you can embrace potential growth, full, true, beautiful transformation of becoming your best self. Because then what do? We open ourselves up for a brand new world of possibilities and opportunities. And then you don't become the status quo or the victim mindset. Stop it, you all. So, as we are concluding here, please be mindful of it is what it is not. And how, when you use that simple phrase, it can be very detrimental on who you really want to become. Until next time, my friends. Thank you so much for checking in on Framing New Heights. If you truly like these podcasts, you guys, please do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. Send it to 5 other friends. It does our podcast a whole. It helps from every perspective. It builds our podcast. And we appreciate your feedback. So next time, join us as we continue to explore different perspectives, new perspectives, and even challenging ones with narratives that can even hold us back. And remember, it isn't what it is. As always, 1% better in mind, body, and soul. And always stay flexed.